Last October, we thought it would be fun to bring some Halloween spook into our lives. My boyfriend had just ordered a Ouija board off Amazon, one of those cheap ones you laugh at in the reviews. But that night, what started as a joke quickly became something none of us were prepared for. We tried it that first night in the attic, the basement, even my bedroom. Nothing, not even a flicker. We laughed it off and tucked the board into the back of my closet. Honestly, I thought it was just some mass-produced board game with spooky branding. Months passed. Then came the storm. Sheets of rain pounding against the windows, howling, wind. My best friend came over to stay the night. She lived in a trailer, figured it was safer with us. We stayed up late doing nothing in particular. Then the clock hit 3 a.m. That's when someone had the idea, let's try the board again. We laughed, but agreed. This time was different though. We lit candles, turned off every single light, sat cross-legged in the living room, Ouija board in the center. The flickering candlelight cast long, dancing shadows against the walls. We spun the planchette 3 times, then together said, "Hello, Ouija." We asked if there were any spirits present. It moved to yes, quickly, too quickly. We asked the basics. What's your name? How old are you? Are you a good spirit? The answers were off. The name was just a cue followed by a string of numbers. Nothing consistent. It felt wrong. We kept testing it, taking turns, asking questions only one of us would know. Holding up a number behind our backs every time the board got it right. It was impossible. Then we asked it to prove it was real. We told it, move something, touch us, make a sound, and then we heard it. A faint yell from downstairs. We froze. Every bedroom was upstairs, nobody else was home. That's when my best friend asked, "Will I ever be a mother?" The board answered with, then A, over and over, spelling mama again and again. Can't remember the last question we asked that night, but I'll never forget what the board started spelling. Z-O, again and again, Zozo. My boyfriend suddenly snapped, "We have to say goodbye, now." We did, but I could tell something had shaken him to the core. It took some pushing, but my boyfriend finally told her. When he was 12, he contacted a spirit named Zozo, a dark presence that impersonated other spirits, that fed on fear. That's why the board said no when I asked if my late father would walk me down the aisle. It wanted to hurt me. It knew. It also made sense later. Zozo often calls itself Mama. That's why the board spelled it out over and over. The next few days, filled with anger, dread. I didn't feel like myself. My boyfriend got fired. We decided to toss the board, left it by a creepy abandoned building nearby. A week later we went back. The board was gone. I went from being a skeptic to being someone who's afraid of the dark again. I truly believe there are things out there. Ancient things, watching, waiting. Never again will I touch a Ouija board. Be careful what you call out to, because sometimes it answers, and sometimes it never leaves. I'm never playing again. And if you're thinking about it, don't. Zozo is real. I've shared a lot of my family's stories before, and trust me, we've had our fair share of creepy encounters, but this one gets to me the most. It's a story my mom told me, one she still can't explain. It happened when she was maybe 12, 13, back in the same house where everything seemed to happen. She was in the living room with my grandma, just lounging around, watching TV like any normal evening. My aunt, her sister, was down the hallway taking a nap in one of the bedrooms. But then something changed. Something called to her. As she sat there, half distracted by whatever was on TV, she heard it. A whisper. Not the kind that you brush off. This one was loud, sharp, desperate, like it was slicing through the air. It said her name. Sam. She snapped her head around and asked my grandma, "Did you hear that?" My grandma didn't even flinch, just kept her eyes on the screen and said, "I hear what?" That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. The whisper came again, louder this time, in a whispering voice with urgency. Sam. It was like each syllable was being stretched, pulled from something in pain. My mom felt panic crawl up her spine. She looked at her mom again. Nothing. Just blank. Unbothered. And then, she turned to the hallway. She didn't want to go. But something was pulling her. The hallway felt colder. Heavier. With each step, the whisper grew silent. But the dread only got worse. She walked straight toward the bedroom where my aunt was sleeping. And when she opened the door, there it was. A figure. Tall. Blacker than the room around it. Not shaped like a man. Not shaped like anything human. And as quick as she saw it, it flew off. Just vanished into thin air. She stood there, heart pounding. But then she looked to the bed. My aunt was awake, eyes wide open, but not moving, frozen, like she was paralyzed. And hovering over her was another figure. The same blackness. It was crouched over her chest, pressing her down. The whole bed was surrounded in darkness. My mom didn't know what to do. She just stood there, watching, frozen. And then, the shadow flew off again, gone. That's when my aunt screamed. She shot out of the bed, crying, shaking, saying she couldn't move, couldn't breathe, felt something holding her down. She never saw my mom standing there, but somehow, my mom heard her call. She felt her calling for help. We still don't know what it was. Was it a spirit? A demon? Sleep paralysis? Or was it something darker? Something tied to that house? My mom believes my aunt somehow reached out. Through fear, through desperation. And only she could hear her. Maybe some whispers aren't just voices in your head. Maybe they're cries for help that no one else can hear. If you've ever heard something that no one else did, something whispering your name when you were alone, maybe you weren't crazy. Maybe you were the only one listening. Hit that subscribe button if you're brave enough to keep listening. Because I've got more stories. And trust me, it only gets worse from here. Moving should be a fresh start. A new place, new energy, new memories, but for us, and it was the beginning of something much darker. My wife and I had just moved across the country. We picked this apartment to be closer to family. In fact, I used to pass this complex as a kid. It always looked normal, just ordinary. But the moment we stepped inside, we both felt it. A weight, a heaviness. Like the air had thickened. Like the walls were watching. Our first night, I tried to shake it off. I decided to shower while my wife set up the kitchen, music playing through her phone. I took our dog with me. She's never left my side since we moved in. But the moment we entered the bathroom, she crouched in the corner, shaking, ears flat, eyes locked on the shower. I'd never seen her like that. I kept telling myself it was just nerves, new place, new sounds. But halfway through the shower, I felt it. Like someone was standing just outside the glass, watching, waiting. I turned fast, heart pounding in me, and for a second, I saw it. A shape. Inside the shower. I yanked the door open and screamed for my wife. No response, just music from the kitchen. And my own breathing. Later, I was helping my wife in the kitchen. I bent down for a box. And then, I felt it. A hand. Cold fingers wrapped around the back of my thigh. I screamed. My wife jumped. Our dog barked. But no one was there. Nothing. Just the cold and that same awful feeling crawling under my skin. That night, things got worse. Our dog, who's known my wife for over 6 years, didn't respond when we called her. Just laid there. Stiff. My wife reached out to touch her and she flinched, then growled. A low, warning growl like she didn't recognize her at all. We were stunned. We had to crate her. We didn't know what else to do. We saged the place, we checked the carbon monoxide detector. Everything should be normal, but nothing feels right. I don't feel like we moved in alone. I feel like something moved in with us. Maybe we're crazy, maybe it's stress. But when your dog growls at your wife like she's a stranger, when you feel hands that aren't there, when shadows move behind frosted glass, you stop doubting yourself. You start watching. Every single corner. Because if something is here, it hasn't even begun yet. Do you think something followed us? Or is the house itself alive? Let me know in the comments. In 2018, my friend's girlfriend and her roommate were looking to sublease their apartment. Their reason? They said they were just moving one town over. Nothing weird about that, right? I was apartment hunting anyway. And I really liked the place, the layout, the neighborhood. It all felt perfect, too perfect. That same night I told them I'd take it. Even had a roommate lined up. Next day I stopped by to talk logistics. That's when her roommate said something that should have been a red flag. She casually mentioned hearing banging in the kitchen, cabinets slamming, appliances moving. Before I could react, my friend's girlfriend snapped, "Shut the fuck up!" and gave her that look like she said something she wasn't supposed to. But me? My dumbass didn't take it seriously. I'd been to that apartment before. For parties. Never got a weird vibe, not once. So I moved in. There were 3 of us now. Me, my friend, and her girlfriend. And my Labrador, 7 years old. I've had him since he was a pup. I know every inch of his behavior. Which is why what happened next shook me to my core. He started growling. At corners. At the dark. He'd just sit there locked in on nothing I could see. Growling low. Like something was there. Something only he could sense. Then, the cabinets. We'd be in the living room and hear them slam shut. Bam! Things sliding around the kitchen like invisible hands were rearranging the counters. We started leaving the lights on. Didn't help. Whenever we cooked, I'd hear something slap the hangers in my closet from across the apartment. I always left the door open, and I'd hear it. A soft rattle, then slap, like someone brushing their hand across them. One night we got home, and everything in the living room was moved. I keep a neat space. That night, it looked like someone had been hanging out, playing games, lounging. Nothing stolen. No signs of forced entry, just lived in. We called the girls who used to live there. They hadn't been back. They gave us the only keys. Another night I was laying on the couch, TV on, hallway light barely lighting the corner. That's when I saw it. A tall, dark shadow walked straight across the hallway entrance, right into my bedroom. I didn't move. I slept on the couch that night. Then came the full moon. Room was lit up like soft daylight. My dog started growling at my open closet. Low at first, then louder. He barked, hackles standing high, then he did something he never did before. He climbed on top of me, pressed his body over mine. He was shielding me. I couldn't move, could barely breathe. Just stared at that closet while my dog barked like hell at it. I texted my best friend, didn't dare speak out loud. The whole thing lasted 30 minutes, but it felt like hours. The grand finale. It happened right before we moved out. I got home late, around 11 p.m. Their bedroom door, it was open a few inches. We always kept it closed. I took my dog out for a walk. When I came back, the door was now halfway open. My heart dropped. Was someone in the apartment? I sat near the patio door, listening. Silent. Then, slap. The vertical blinds behind me moved like someone smacked them. I turned and saw the curtain lunge forward, 2 feet, toward me. There was only 3 inches between it and the glass. No, one could be behind it. And yet, it moved. I ran outside, waited for them to get home. We searched the whole place. Nothing. No intruder. Just us. And it. There were other things too. Stuff moved around when we were gone. Doors we closed. Now open. The closet light flicking on by itself. Always something. Every week. But here's the funny part. We never considered moving out. We loved that apartment, loved the neighborhood. So we did what any rational person would do. We ignored it. Pretended it wasn't real. Until it made itself too real to ignore. Some places don't want to be lived in, some places never forget. And some things, they wait, even after you've moved on. Thanks for listening. If you've ever lived somewhere, that just felt wrong. Tell me in the comments, and don't forget, some doors are better left closed. You're watching Night Whispers. Subscribe and turn on the bell button if you're not afraid of what whispers back. If you also want me to read a spiritual incident that happened to you or someone you know, you can share it by email. The email link will be given in the description box. And be sure to share your feelings about hearing the incident in the comments.